I'm at the eastern boundary of Shenandoah National Park, and there's my little red car. I am parked at the end of Chester Gap Road. This is Route 610 coming up, a little bit south of Front Royal. And you follow Route 610 until it dead ends. And as you can see, I've got some company, and just behind that second car is the old road that went into the park and up the side of the mountain to Skyline Drive at Compton Gap. So that's the Compton Gap Fire Road. Gonna hike that today. The elevation here is 2,000 feet. .5 miles into my hike, I'm up to 2,490 feet elevation. There's where I came from. I've taken a few still pics, but I really haven't done any narration because everything here, I'll do a little sweep here, everything is completely, totally overgrown this time of the year. So if there's anything along this old road that's noteworthy, you're not going to find it this time of the year. That's the way I'm headed, and I don't think it's going to be a whole lot more climbing involved because if I'm remembering right, Skyline Drive's about the same elevation, so we may go up and down a little bit. It's about another mile to Skyline Drive, so I'm going to hike up to Skyline Drive, and we'll take a look. We'll take a look at the Compton Gap area there, and then on the way back I'm going to make a couple of little side trips. .8 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2510, and up to this point the trail's been blazed yellow, meaning horses, but now you see it says no horses beyond this point. That's where I came from, and when you get to that sign, if you look to the right, you'll see this concrete signpost, and see, it's a fairly well-defined road heading off that way. I'll have to look that up because there's no band on here. Somebody pulled the band off. See, you can see the groove where it goes, but somebody's pulled it off. So if you come up on horses, when you get to here, you need to take a right and follow this on up into the park this way. We'll check it out when we do the map talk. In the meantime, I'm on foot, so here we go. Continuing on up towards Compton's Gap. 2.1 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2480. Been fairly constant elevation. And let's see, there's where I came from. And when you come up here to this signpost here, I'm going to go straight up to Skyline Drive, but when I come back and get to here, I'm going to head off in this direction, and that's going to take me down to the Indian Run shelter, which isn't a shelter anymore. They turned it into a maintenance shed, I think. And if you head the other way, this takes you up to a geological formation called Fort Windham Rocks. So if we have time, maybe we'll head over there and check that out too. But first I'm going to continue on straight. Next stop, Skyline Drive. .4 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2415, and this is Compton Gap. It's Saturday, so there's a lot of people. There's the parking lot. That's where I came from. The fire road is that way. This is Skyline Drive looking to the south. Come some bicyclers. And I'm going to head north here just a short distance and see if I can find an old Geological Survey benchmark.
Are we official?
Hi. Okay, well this looks like the remains of the road that went down the west side of the mountain, obviously abandoned many years ago. And the survey benchmark's right in here somewhere, but it's pretty overgrown, so I may look around a little bit. I'm not real excited about getting into all these weeds. But this looks like the old road right here. And just for reference, right there at the bend is the parking lot. So in the old days, the road came up the east side of the mountain to here and then came around the bend here and then went down the west side of the mountain this way. Here's a little better view of the remains of the road on the west side. Up there, Skyline Drive. And there's a big tree cut down right there to sort of block, to hold up the dirt. And then I'm standing in the ditch. Maybe you can see that it's got a lot of leaves in it. So that's what the woods looks like. And here's the ditch. Right here is a big pile of rocks. Like they either chain them off, or in this case they put a big pile of rocks here probably 80 years ago to keep people from using this side of the road. Maybe this winter I'll come back and hike down the side of the road, down this side, and see where it goes. Okay, I'm back to the turnoff. So let's take a left and go this way and towards Fort Windham Rocks and see what's up with the rocks. Three miles into my hike, the elevation here is 2550, and all in through there and over here is the big rock formation. So I think there's a trail over here somewhere that'll take me over there, but this is what it looks like from the main trail. Okay, well, I'm up here on the rocks. There's the tippy top, but this spot right here gives me a little bit of a view over there. I'll have to look that up. That might be Compton Peak over there, and it's pretty open up here, right here. There's a huge crevasse that runs down through there. A lot of tall trees, and there's a trail. I guess it takes you all the way up to the very tippy top. Okay, I'm back to the intersection, so now let's head on down this this access road down to the Indian Run shelter. Okay, well, I'm not to the shelter yet, but that says spring, and on the band it says 200 feet this way, so I don't know. Let's go the 200 feet and see what it looks like. Okay, well, as you follow that side trail down, you'll see that second marker, and here you go, right here. It's running pretty good. So I'll just point this out. There's a lot of these springs like this that don't have pipes. So you need a way to sort of suck the water up, or else you're going to have to build up some kind of a dam here to get the water, because that water's not even an inch deep, but it is running and it's crystal clear. 3.8 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2320. And this is the Indian Run shelter. Used to be a shelter, but now it is used by PATC, Potomac Appalachian Trail Club, to store maintenance items for the trail maintenance. So it's not available for Appalachian Trail thru hikers anymore. But it was built the same way as all the other ones. It's built out of stone, three-sided. It was open right there, but they boarded it up. And here's the fireplace. They're curved like that to reflect the heat, radiant heat from the fire into the shelter. Now, not sure where. Oh, okay, let me go down this way. Sorry for the jiggly camera. So right over there is the outhouse. So you got the outhouse there. Everything else is, that looks like it used to be a camping area, but they have a sign that says no camping within sight of the building now. But that used to be camping. I can just tell by the look of it. And there is the shelter, and you can see a smoke pipe coming up out of that shelter. Normally the shelters don't have any kind of heat in them at all except for the fire pit. But that one's got a smoke pipe coming out of it, so that's a conversion they did. .5 miles into my hike. I'm down to 2330 elevation. And that's the way I'm headed. And right here is where the Appalachian Trail leaves this road. Most of, let's see, I've got about another half a mile back down to my car. So the first half a mile of this is just a fire road. When you get to here, the Appalachian Trail joins it, and you see that white blaze there? Appalachian Trail. And then if you look up there on that big tree, then heading from here on up to all the way to the Gap, Compton Gap, the parking lot there, it's Appalachian Trail and the fire road combined. So you see on that big tree up over there, there's a yellow blaze and a white blaze. So yellow means horses are allowed, and white is the reserved for the Appalachian Trail. So right here is where it veers off to the left, and it heads off that way in that direction, and eventually leaves the park. So me, I'm going to keep heading down this way. I got about another half a mile down to my car. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Chester Gap, 1994. And I hiked the Compton Gap Trail. Chester Gap, Virginia is over here. It's a little bit south of Front Royal, Virginia. And this is Route 610, Chester Gap Road. So you follow this up the side of the mountain until it dead ends right here. It dead ends right here at the park boundary. Park your car and then come on in on, this is basically the same road extended, but the instead of calling it Chester Gap Road, starting here it's known as Compton Gap Trail. And you follow that on up the side of the mountain the rest of the way to Compton Gap, which is right here. So coming up along the road here, when you get to this spot right here, this is where the Appalachian Trail comes in to the park and hooks up with this road. And this road is double blazed. It's blazed white for the Appalachian Trail, and it's also blazed yellow for horses. Until you get up to right here. And when you get up to here, there is a sign that says no horses beyond this point. And so for horses, you have to take this road here and come on into the park this way. But hikers just keep coming on up this way. When you get to this spot here, there's another signpost. And if you go this way, this will take you to Fort Windham Rocks. So I show that. And then if you go this way, it takes you down to, there's a spring here. And then if you go a little further down the side of the mountain, you'll end up at the Indian Run shelter. So just keep coming along the road here, and when you get up to here, this is Skyline Drive right here. And this is about mile marker 10. So if you want, you can come into the park at Front Royal and come up to mile marker 10, about 10 and a half. And if you turn left, there's a little parking area right here. So, and again, remember, this is the Appalachian Trail coming up through here. So this is a real popular area. And then the Appalachian Trail continues across Skyline Drive, and you climb this Compton Mountain up to Compton Peak, and then down, and then continue on further south. The other thing I'll point out is this highlighted road was here back in 1939. I found this on the 1939 Front Royal map. It came up from Chester Gap, all the way up to Compton Gap here, and then it made a sharp turn and it went down the western side of the mountain like this, and it continues on down the side of the mountain, eventually takes you to Browntown, Virginia. Browntown, Virginia, there isn't much there these days, but back in the early days there was a tannery there. And so the people up in the mountains would cut down oak trees and other trees, strip the bark off, and take it down this road to Browntown to the tannery. So they sold the bark, and then they cut up the trees, and they sold the oak to coopers who used them to make barrel staves. Got to put your moonshine in something, so may as well put it in nice oak barrels. So that was this. Oh, the other thing I'll point out is down here at the Indian Run shelter, that used to be a shelter for through hikers on the AT, but they closed it up. PATC closed it up. It's boarded up, and they store stuff in there. The trail maintainers use it as a storage depot for trail maintenance up here in the park. So this is a real nice hike. The first 3/4 of a mile is a pretty steep climb, but after that, this section in through here levels out real nicely. A little bit of a climb to get up here to the Fort Windham Rocks, and then this is downhill fairly steeply down to the shelter. So if you go down there, you're gonna have to climb back up to get back up onto the road. Now, I haven't hiked this part yet. This will be a bushwhack. This western side is completely abandoned. I mean, most people come up here and they wouldn't really know even where to look for this, or what a road looks like after it's been abandoned for 90, 100 years. It's very, very weak trace here. I took a few pictures. Hopefully you can make some of it out. But I may go back this winter and hike this down to here anyway. Ended up being 6.2 miles and 1,018 feet of ascent. Now, a lot of people will, when they get to here, they'll just continue on. But this is a pretty steep climb to get up to this Compton Peak, but it's worth looking at. I've already been there, so I didn't bother climbing this mountain again and back down. And that was the hike for today.